Good afternoon. If there's anybody out there, check this out. So, hello. Tamworth are keeping Tottenham very honest, but that's what happens when you've got Timo Werner up front, who couldn't hit a cow's backside with a banjo. If there's anyone listening, please say hello in the chat. Make sure I can see and hear you. So I'll wait for that. If there's anybody there, please, can you just say hello in the chat? Make sure I can see and hear you. Okay. Thanks very much, Bosun. Lovely job. So just waiting on the possibility of a Tamworth goal. Some 2 o'clocks. Inter Milan should be far too good for Venezia. Hi, Dave. Nice to see you. Le Havre should really struggle against Lens today. Hi, Michael. Thanks very much. Feyenoord should have too much for Utrecht. Not much else to talk about. Las Palmas and Getafe. I think that was going to be one of those 0-0s, wasn't it? A bit like the Genoa match earlier on, which was a 0-0 at half time. So we're not expecting a goal fest for Las Palmas and Getafe. If you looked at the form, those of you who got involved with old Rod earlier on, well done. Got there in the end, didn't they? The draw is always in play. So when you're playing these kind of matches in the FA Cup and they're a goal behind, hi Mark, and it's probably not a good idea to go match odds and look for a winner. You're just looking for that draw, aren't you? Don't forget, the Australian Open has begun. This is also a good trading vehicle, so we can talk about that today. I missed the opening today. Such a beautiful day. I went out, hit some balls down at Langcrest Golf Club. There's my old pals, Victoria Guimarães, scoring first. They've been got a 70 quid last time. Guimarães, 3 minutes in against Elvis. Thank you very much. They're playing Elvis today in the Portuguese Cup. Guimarães, well worth following. So those of you interested in tennis, it's a quite simple angle. You're looking for these kind of upsets. The underdog to win the first set, or indeed the underdog to go 2 sets up. You're also looking for a 2-0 to 2-1 scenario. You're going to see that a lot. Kai Nishikori, for example. Yes, he's a bit like Darren Anderton, old sick note. So you never know with Kai, but 2 sets down, that's when you start backing Kai Nishikori. 2 sets down, 1.2 favourite against Montero. Bang. Got to win the 3rd set or you're out. This is exclusive to the men's Grand Slam best of 5. So you're going to get these opportunities. That, if you were up early enough, is kind of banker material. It's really solid, really big odds for Kai. If you can win that 3rd set, you're up and running. So look out for these opportunities as well. This one, bit of a shock. I don't know who Boo is or why is it 1.36, but you can also check the ATP rankings, etc. 65th against 219. Don't know anything about this Boo. Rather play sides that I know, or players that I know. But Kai Nishikori is a perfect example of an early round play in a men's Grand Slam. Quentin Hallis, well, at 1.8, the favourite is pretty much even Stevens, isn't it? So it's up to you whether you fancy a 2-0, a 5-setter. And if you do, you take on Walton 2 sets up. Then you back Quentin Hallis here and hope that this is even Stevens. Shorties, a bit like the footy, apart from Tottenham. You're expecting a clean sweep, aren't you? So that's a way to increase the odds. But here, well, not quite for Lehecka. So that's an early look at the Grand Slams. I prefer playing men's Grand Slams to women's because of that 5-set. And I'm a bit out of sync with tennis, so I don't know who's the up and coming stars, etc. So you'll have to do your research on them. But let's have a look at the footy at the moment. Tamworth and Spuds. Well, you're waiting for Ange Postecoglou to make some substitutions, bring on Son, Kulusevski, etc. Because quite simply, I don't know how Timo Werner earns a living as a centre forward, because advertising standards will be after him. He ain't a centre forward. 1.04 shot, you're expecting an avalanche of goals. Celtic did it yesterday, did it very late. Now we're getting Dominic Solanke on and Bergvall on. So what a sensational goal that would have been. Brendan Johnson, Tottenham picks up the ball. So they're getting there. We've got 2 key substitutions with 20 minutes to go for the Spuds. Solanke, well, did they bring off old Cowsars with a banjo? No, they didn't. He's still on. So this could be one to lay the very, very late draw, couldn't it? If you can find value there. 1.07, 1.04 shot at 1.67 odds is pretty good. Hi, Colin. Nice to see you. So let's just close a few of these down. So it's going to be a quieter Sunday than it was yesterday, but we had a really good opportunity yesterday. We've got a potential play here now with Le Havre, a goal down to Lens, 1.57 pre-match favourites, Lens. Let's do our due diligence here. We've got the luxury of time on a Sunday. It's a quieter coupon, but this is a potential avenue in for Le Havre. Found it difficult this particular season. So let's go to French League 1. Le Havre and Lens. It says 1-0. I don't think this lot have caught up just yet. There it is, there. So we'll work our way down, see what kind of a mood these two are in. Lens, known as a Champions League side, but the away sides this weekend in France have been pretty poor. But look at Le Havre, only 4 wins all season. So we're not expecting much from them, are we? Coming off the back of conceding 8 goals in 2 matches as well. Not good at all. Failing to score in, well, 5 of the last 6 home matches. So a bit like St. Pauli yesterday. Lens did fail to score against Toulouse, but they very rarely lose. And when they do lose, it's against a pretty big side. Champions League Lille, Champions League Paris Saint-Germain, Champions League Marseille and Toulouse. This just, well, it's a penalty. So it does show you that Lens are in pretty decent nick, aren't they? So this has all the hallmarks of a potential comeback akin to the Hull going down to Doncaster earlier on. No draw in 16. So if it's a draw late on for Le Havre, lay that late draw. But we've already got a key angle, I think. This is 17th against 7th. And as you can see here, it's poor stuff, isn't it? Against the top 6, conceding 2 goals at least. At home against the top 6, conceding at least 3 goals. That's not quite in keeping with Lens' 1.57 away odds, but you can see Lens here should be feeling confident today, but they have conceded. They normally keep a clean sheet. So this has the hallmarks of a potential comeback based on seasonal form. Only 5 goals scored at home for Le Havre, 4 of them coming second half. Lens, well, they scored 64% of their away goals in the first half. So let's have a look at the in-play stats here. And it's getting to the 79th minute, Tamworth against Tottenham. Are we going to see Son? Is this just a bad managerial display from Ange putting Timo Werner on? We're not seeing the panic buttons just yet, are we? Dominic Solanke and Bergvall on the bench. But don't forget, he's probably thinking about extra time as well. They're going to do them in extra time. There's no replays anymore. So Song Hyun-min is there, Kulusevski's there as well. But there's no replay, so there's no panic. This is a game you can win in extra time. So that's probably Postecoglou's thinking, and Tamworth likely the fitness levels aren't going to be on a level with a Premier League team. So let's go and have a look at Le Havre and Lens. How can we approach this one? You've got a half-time option as well, given that Lens have scored 67% of their goals away in the first half. That can reduce your liability. Half-time score, you could go 1-1 and 1-2 to Lens. Or the simplest method is the 90-minute play, isn't it? So you could load up on this, aim for the big score. But that's quite a big liability there. So if you want to have a play around, that kind of thing looks reasonable enough. That's option number one. That's if you want to play the half-time market. It always suffers from a lack of liquidity, though. That's the problem there. So it's about getting out. The other option, to cover that insurance, because Le Havre have had trouble even scoring, haven't they? So you could do what we did at Hull, lay over 1.5 goals, and then go have a look at Lens +1 to start with. That's suggesting that the market expects a comfortable afternoon for Lens. So you have to really default to the match odds. Split your stake in two. So that's £20 minus commission. So you're getting 2.36, about a 1.57 favourite. And you could lay Le Havre as well. Half stake as liability, which gives you a reasonably small amount on the draw, which hopefully incentivizes you to stay in for that Lens win. So on paper, Le Havre have been struggling, and it looks like a good response from Lens already. So I might pass this on to Telegrammers. So excuse me for a sec. So let's get this sorted. Live stream at the moment, youtube.com/@footballtradingprofits if you fancy it. First possible play today after the Hull equaliser. Le Havre have taken the lead against Lens. This is a Le Havre who have trouble even scoring at home. They normally concede 3 or 4 against the top guys. So lay over 1.5 goals. And you'll have to go match odds here. Half stake back Lens. Half stake is liability. Lay Le Havre. If you want to see the bets placed, you'll have to come to the live stream. So that looks like a reasonable choice, doesn't it? You're getting decent enough odds about that shorty there. So that's the first look today. Beerschot, newly promoted, did score first in the first minute, but we've got an equaliser for Antwerp. Didn't really look at that one at all. Porto B against Portimonense, no strong opinion there. Trabzonspor already leading the 1.48 favourites. Las Palmas and Getafe likely to be a 0-0. And indeed, we've got a 0-0 at half-time. I wouldn't be too keen to take that on. If you looked at the review preview video earlier on, that's the conclusion we came to. Las Palmas and Getafe. So let's work our way down. Few stats and matches for both teams. And this, I think, is this match which had the strong unders. You have a look at Las Palmas at home. Well, they do score 2 goals. I think I'm getting this mixed up with another side. But looking at Getafe away, failed to score in 5 of 6 away matches. But there's a big question mark, isn't there, about their performances against the bottom sides away. We don't know, quite simply. Las Palmas, looking at the overs stats, 44% overs. Yes, I am with the right match. 12% overs away from home for Getafe. So no wonder this is 0-0. It's difficult to trust these 0-0s, particularly with 12% overs away from home, whether to take that on or not. So I will not bother at the moment. Not a goals fest match. Groningen and Almere, this is the Eredivisie. They're coming up to half-time. You could always check 23 dangerous attacks to 8. Feyenoord and Utrecht might be one. And Inter Milan have got the first goal against Venezia. It was going to be a comfortable away win for Inter. Got a couple of games in hand against the big boys at the top. So a must win for them today to really have an assault at first place, or at least the top 2. So no surprises there, but Venezia did surprise Juventus with a late equaliser recently. Feyenoord and Utrecht, probably going to see some second half action here, but these are comeback matches after the winter break. That's the negative there. But let's have a look at seasonal form. And Utrecht are in pretty decent nick. So it's maybe not as clear-cut as the market suggests. 2 defeats only for Feyenoord have come against the big boys, Ajax and PSV. 3 defeats only for Utrecht. One of them has come against Feyenoord, PSV, and a strange one against Fortuna Sittard that came from out of nowhere, conceding 8 goals in the last 2 matches prior to the winter break. Just took the gloss off what has been an excellent season for Utrecht. But Feyenoord are a bit like PSV, who got that 2-2 yesterday. Look reliable. No defeat in 8 away, though, for Utrecht. They are very good travellers. Both teams have scored in the last 6. Don't forget, this is all pre-winter break, so I don't know if we can rely on it today. Winter break's taken the gloss off their form. Feyenoord, as you can see, only lost to the top 2, playing third today, who they've already beaten this season. Looking at the goals scored prior to the winter break, you can see it's about 50-50 for Feyenoord, but notably, Utrecht, 7 goals have been scored in the last 15 minutes of away matches. Something to think about there, that's for sure. So, possibility second half. Normally don't see a 0-0 at half-time in a Feyenoord home match or in an Utrecht away match. So, therefore, we don't see 0-0s. You can see there, no 0-0 this season for either side. So possibilities, and it could be one. We can experiment with that draw. So let me show you, like we did yesterday with Falkirk. Start with half of my stake to lay overs, 0.5 goals. And that will be a very small liability. And then we just wait. Hopefully, these draw rods will get lower. Hopefully, this will be 0-0 for a while. But we will see what we can get out of it. Looks really good for Lens at the moment. Not so for the Spuds. Coming to the 90th minute, this could be an opportunity to lay that late draw, just in case. But don't forget, this could be a deliberate act on Spurs' behalf, trying to keep the match alive and entertaining for the Tamworth faithful, and then just doing the job in extra time with no replay. Still a bit of a way to go, 1.38. They're not letting the draw slide just yet. But I'll be happy to lay the draw very, very late, just in case the Spuds turn up or Dominic Solanke turns up. But you can see once you rely on Timo Werner for your goals, you're not going to get much out of that. So still a bit of time left in the Tottenham Tamworth match. And if you want to back a 1.04 shot at fours, well, now's the time to do it. So extra time, I think, will be where Tottenham will do their damage. So up to you if you want to lay the draw, lay it as late as possible. You could even just have a little go at 1.09 and 1.06 in case they were to pick something up very, very late on. So 2 London sides have disappointed so far, Brentford and Tottenham. Brentford, you could just feel, weren't really up for the cup, were they, yesterday against Plymouth? Tottenham is probably not a priority, but as I say, this could be a deliberate act on Spurs' part. Just keep the crowd entertained. Don't spank them and just get the job done in extra time. I'm being extra generous there, of course, that this is a deliberate act. We don't know. Hi, Stephen. Nice to see you. So we'll be waiting on that. Las Palmas, Getafe, no strong interest there. Feyenoord and Utrecht, I've already laid over 0.5 goals. I'm hoping this will be 0-0 for a while, like it was with Falkirk yesterday. And we can get really good short odds lay of the draw with an opportunity to win big if we get that single goal. But if you get a goal quickly, you're only going to lose that small bit of liability. But it worked very well with Plymouth and with Falkirk yesterday. Falkirk was a break-even-ish. Plymouth, well, they scored first, so you didn't get that huge odd swing. 1.17 now, 6 shots on 8 off 7 corners. The last shot, 64th minute, what perhaps tells you the story there. Bundesliga, Leipzig, very, very hit and miss. Got all the big guns out in the Greek Super League today. Panathinaikos, AEK Athens, and PAOK, I think, as well. So some good stuff there today. Let's just clear up a bit of this. And you Ugandan fans, well, I don't think I'll be following the Ugandans today. So those are the matches at the moment. It's a very small list, as you know. It's a very quiet Sunday ordinarily. See Inter Milan. Don't think we need to follow that anymore. Absolutely dominant display from them. Lens looks like a good response to going a goal down to Le Havre. I think we should have a comfortable afternoon there, all being well. And if the seasonal stats continue, we can go back and look at tennis if you want, because this is a good trading vehicle. Any others? Watch out for the 2-0 to 2-1. You see it here with Walton and Quentin Hallis. 2-0 to 2-1. Any others? Normally, these players are vulnerable if they're 2-0 up to that third set. You're always going to get that fight in the third set. There, we get the fight back in the third set if there's 2-0 down. But not really in any of the others. This is the opening day. You're looking for big upsets, basically. In the ladies' game, well, it's a tricky one, really. The problem with the ladies' game is that some of the service games are so poor that it's very hard to trust these players. This may have been a losing trade. I might have been tempted in here because if you lose via a tiebreaker, that's not exactly, you're not exactly being punished, are you? You've not been overrun. You've just lost the key point. So it's always a chance of a fight back. So you can have a look at the stats. This is tennis24.com. It's the sister site to soccer24.com. Look at the tight rankings as well. Probably not really the kind of ranking differential you want to see for a 1.44. Very tightly ranked. So not a match which would immediately appeal. But you can have a look at the second set to see if there was a chance that Pera would have broken. Well, no, Pera, yeah. Did Pera broke? There. That and that would be your out. It doesn't matter what happens to the final result, even if she went 0-2 down. So if you did get involved, you would have actually got yourself a profitable trade here. Don't forget, it's the hint, it's not the outcome. And you'd have got a clear indication here that the market thinks she would fight back. So had you backed her, pre-match favourite, a set down, that is your out position there. Break serve, consolidate, and then it all goes pear-shaped for her at the end. Poor thing. So a profitable trade, but a losing match. And there's that Lens equaliser showing Tottenham Hotspur how to do it. And looks like Tamworth. Oh, sorry, I got a phone call. Can I just take this? It might be important. Excuse me for a sec. Hello? Hello, Mark, all right? Yeah. Yeah, fine, thanks. What's the plan? Yes, everything's going well, yeah. I'm just doing a live stream at the moment, so I'll just get out. Hello. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, great. I'll pass it on to him. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's an excellent idea, Mark. Yeah. Yeah. What can you? Yeah, if you can get me a time for that, then that would be excellent. Yeah. Yeah. Make sure he's. That's it. So I'll have a chat with him after my live stream, and we'll see. Yeah. Yeah, we'll do, Mark. Nice one. Cheers for now. Bye. That's just my brother there. He's just doing some stuff for my dad. So extra time now for the Spuds, but let's go and have a look at Lens. So this is your first cash out opportunity, don't forget, like you did with Bournemouth yesterday. If the goal stands, looks as if the goal does stand. So that's your first cash out. It's not going to be much, of course, but I'm hoping that you're tempted in because it's such an early equaliser at 1-1. 31 minutes in, that you'll be tempted to look for the winner there. So if you're willing to take the hit and the chance for the chance of 34 quid, then off you go. So good start. And let's just keep an eye on the other matches. This one, like Torino, where's the goals going to come from? That's the problem. Las Palmas, been okay. But you can see keeping clean sheets in 2 of the last 3 matches. But Copa del Rey, probably not interested in it. You can tell by that 4-0 defeat. But a very good set of recent results. But Getafe, trouble scoring goals. Failed to score in 4 of the last 5. And that, well, guess who's just scored? My old pals, Getafe. But not a match I've got a great interest in at all. Now, can we trust Las Palmas to score a goal? That's the problem there. Feyenoord, well, the second half's yet to begin. But you can see this. This is exactly what you want to see. You could try to get one of these a day and you'll be making yourself 30, 40 quid. for a small stake. You saw we did it with Aston Villa. We did it with Bournemouth. Aston Villa was 55 quid. Bournemouth yesterday, something around 40 quid. And Le Havre, highly likely to go on and win because of Lens, highly likely to go on and win because of Le Havre's very, very poor record against these top six sides with home advantage. So I think we're up for a good one there. And we've got the big guns beginning. Panathinaikos odds on away. They've kind of had a winter break, although the sun should be shining in Greece. Spezia against Juve Stabia, top 5 class, so just be careful with that one. Leipzig have been awful. A very tough team to look at, Leipzig. I'm not sure. So let's have a quick look at that one. Leipzig and Werder Bremen. You can see they've suffered from a bit of the old Man City-itis with the newfound Champions League. It's just messed with them, hasn't it? Conceding 9 goals in 2 matches in November. But coming back against Holstein Kiel and Frankfurt, and then a big collapse against Bayern Munich. Werder Bremen will have wished for the winter break not to have arrived. 3 consecutive wins, albeit not against the best sides on the planet, but still 2 consecutive away clean sheets, something to work with. So it's important, I think, for Leipzig to get back on to winning ways, but their form, they're another one of those sides like Manchester United, Man City, that you just can't trust. A whole raft of wins against 2nd to 6th, but then suddenly losing to 7th and 9th, failing to score against 10th and 12th at home, which Leipzig turns up. There's no strong form pattern here, is there? Werder Bremen, well, you normally get goals in Werder Bremen matches 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 2.5 goal matches away. Again, you don't have to play matches you can't read or you don't have a handle on. This is far more readable, isn't it? Le Havre and Lens. There's no harm in making money here. But if you try and make money here when you can't read the match, there's no point, is there? So for me, it's a difficult one. And you can see we've got a quietish afternoon. So it might be heading back to the tennis again to see if I can get you interested in Grand Slam tennis. And we can have a look, perhaps while the football is starting to brighten up. Feyenoord Utrecht, don't forget, second half. We'll be looking at laying that draw at some point. But for the tennis, let's have a look. Match Stat. So just give you some websites if you're interested in the tennis. This is Match Stat. It's really gone on far. It used to be just tennis, Match Stat, but now it's, as you can see, it's pretty much everything else. Normally used to do my research here, but they're offering, I think, paid for analysis, or if you're a member. But the way I would look at it, you could do your research at tennis24.com because it's pretty comprehensive. This is the equivalent to the football in play stats. So you could look at patterns here if tennis is your thing. What I tend to look for is the break points converted in the first set. And we also want to look at the pressure. If this Andreeva was an underdog, for example, and she wasn't, but if she was an underdog in the first set, you're going point by point. Has she been pressurizing this Buzkova serve enough? You could see that break point there. But then she's been pressured as well on her serve. Clean, break point, break point, break point. So really good service game from Andreeva. Doesn't seem to be anything in Buzkova's game to suggest she's going to be troubling her today. And you can see by the amount of break points that she's created 3, and she's only converted 1 of them. So you can take that information from the first set into the second. That would be my key look. But I'm not, as I say, tennis isn't my major thing, but I'm trying to get an angle in because it's like football. You can treat these as if they're goals. So if an underdog wins the first set, it's like the underdog scoring the first goal. And then you do your research. You can get an indication of the strength or otherwise of the players. This is far too tight in the rankings for me to be a 1.44 favourite. You could look at tomorrow's matches. You might get a better look at the research and ability to research. You've got these previews as well, which are excellent. Highly recommended. You can do your own research in the H2H section here. So we've got Basilashvili, old Mr. Faulty, 210 against 49, but that could be down to an injury. We don't know. So we're playing. This is like all surfaces. This is like football equivalent, all matches. This could be, for example, Premier League only, Champions League only, that kind of thing. We're on hard court, so the main focus should be horses for courses on hard court. You can go back and see if there are any patterns. That looks like a retirement, doesn't it, there? And you can look at the kind of quality that he's been playing, 105th in the world. So you can go as deep as you want, put it that way, into the men's game. What I tend to do is I take my cues from the pre-match odds. Read the previews as well, because they're ultra recent. This lot have done all the work for you pretty much, that you don't really have to. Also important for tennis is a look at any, that's Tenny Sexplorer. It's not a porn site, don't worry. TennisExplorer.com. Important, I think, to know any recent injury concerns. You can see there. So if you've got any major players coming back, Australian Open, Anisimova is returning. And you can see. No, you can find out what kind of an injury they've had, etc. And put 2 and 2 together, they might be vulnerable. But as I say, these previews are probably going to do all the work for you. So that's excellent to look at. I also look at the ATP rankings as well and the head-to-heads to tell you how they're getting on overall, and particularly on hard court. It doesn't look like Duckworth is enjoying the hard, is he? But all dependent on the players he's losing to. Well, it's 179th in the world, 173rd in the world. He doesn't look very reliable, does he? 299th in the world on hard. He should stick to the Rovers' return, old Jack Duckworth. So for me, 1.67 with that kind of form, don't fancy that much at all. As I say, I prefer my football, but you can get angles in the tennis. You can get some really good profits as well. Particularly, as I say, that Kei Nishikori. This is a template. If you're interested in tennis, this is what you're looking for. 1.2 favourite, 2 sets down in the men's game. Particularly if he's lost one of these sets via a tiebreaker, it means that he's been battling. And then you back him then. Or you lay Montero 3-0 in the set betting market and sit back and look for a potential recovery. Simple as that, really, isn't it? It's not rocket science. I know tennis traders go into the service stats. There are also other angles that I like to use. I like if a player particularly in the ladies' game in the first set. A favourite, for example, is 4-1 down, and then she's serving next. If she makes it 4-2, then she breaks. That becomes 4-3. Then she's back on serve to 4-4, and all of a sudden, 4-1 is not looking like a huge scoreline, is it? So there's plenty to do. I did pass on some stuff for you at footballtradingprofits.com. I think we've got a tennis section. It's just my meanderings on the subject, if that interested you. So do log in and have a look. Grand Slams are the best places to trade tennis. It's as simple as that. So have a look round. I'm sure we've got a tennis section here somewhere. I'm not sure where to look for it, but it will be there. So have a look yourselves if you're interested in tennis, because this is the time to do it. And as I say, April onwards is the real tennis section. And I think it's a skill well worth your attention because, of course, the football gets a bit ropey from April onwards, doesn't it? We've got the Irish Premier League. We've got the the Finnish Veikkausliiga. We've got Norway. We've got Sweden. We've got Denmark. We've got plenty of decent football. But if you go to the ATP Tour calendar, from Monte Carlo onwards, it's all high quality tennis. If you can find some tennis angles like we've got with the football, then you can really clean up. So the ATP Tour tournaments calendar starting at Monte Carlo for me, and then that will be in about April, and then you've got the whole summer of absolute quality tennis from Monte Carlo in April, Barcelona. All of the big guns are playing. Why? Because we've got 3 Grand Slams in the summer. So it's something well worth your attention, I believe, because you can use the football trading techniques, the trading techniques at least, to buy and sell the changes in price. Instead of anticipating a goal like we did with Lens, you're anticipating a comeback from a player. So well worth your attention. But let's return to the football. So Sunday, we can afford to have a quick look at tennis because it's a quietish day. But heading back to Feyenoord, you can see the thing about this technique is we're just hoping that we don't get the goals we expect. And all the while, we're hoping that these odds will rise. And not these odds, but the profit will rise on the lay. Because as this goes up, the draw odds go down. And we want to be laying at far lower than 3.55, which is the tendency you'll get at half time when you've got a very strong home favourite with a reputation for goals, goals, goals. So just be careful with that one. So we might miss it, but if we do miss it, you're only going to miss £3.60 if we do get that goal coming too early. What I'm really trying to do is get this as low as possible because we're not getting much of a return at 3.55. Sorry, £40 liability. We're not getting much of a return, are we? And we want to get this out of sync. We want to see the green screen starting to rise here. And then we want to get on here where we're in a case that the profit here equals the loss here. Now, I showed you that well with Falkirk yesterday. It was a great example of what I was talking about, but it looks as if Feyenoord are well up for this, aren't they? Now, there's also an option you can do as well if you're expecting goals, and that's to have backed over 1.5 goals at over evens. So we can show you that little technique as well. You're just looking for a goal between now and about the 70th or 80th minute. If you were expecting over 2.5 goals, I know we're coming back off a winter break, so it's not guaranteed. If you're expecting over 2.5 goals, then why don't you just back over 1.5 goals at evens? Look for a single goal. You can always get out a third of liabilities loss, or you could lay over 0.5 goals at 1.244. So that would cost you 10 quid. And then, oh, I shouldn't have placed that, sorry, because that's going to scupper all of my plans here. My apologies. I can't cancel it now because it's already taken in. So that's a mistake on my part. But that's just, I was trying to illustrate to you that the problematic scoreline then would be between over 0.5 and under 1.5. If you get the no man's land between those two, you're in trouble. So I shouldn't have placed that, I'm afraid, because it's gone and scuppered my plan to show you the insurance when you're laying the draw second half. Now we've got an idea first half as well. If you're expecting a match with first half goals, we can maybe see if we can find one of them coming up. Leipzig and Werder Bremen. Again, this is just experimenting, but it is a quiet Sunday. I had the idea, if we're expecting first half goals, why don't you lay 0.5 goals? Well, not now. 18 minutes in. I thought the odds would be a lot shorter. But you could do it here at 108. So let's try that out. And then we could look at laying the draw in the half-time score market. Don't forget, this is just me thinking aloud. Again, you see a very small liability. Now to sit back, we should have done this right at the beginning, of course. Right at the beginning. And you've probably got the same odds or even lower. So if you're expecting a first half goal, lay over 0.5 goals. Very small liability. Sit back and wait. Now you're looking at the half time. You're looking to lay the draw at half time at some point. And hopefully, if you did this right at the beginning, well, this wouldn't work, would it? Because we'll have to do it in the half-time market. So, as I say, I'm thinking aloud. If you've got any ideas of your own, let me know. So, probably starting off first half goals over 0.5, laying at 1.3 at the beginning. Then, we're getting involved with a half-time lay the draw. That would be the idea, wouldn't it? Because as you can see, this is dropping. And this is rising. So something for me to try out when we're beginning a match, not 18 minutes in. But if we can do this, then we can have a tilt at the first half without it costing us too much money. So maybe it could be a strategy all on its own. So I'll just pick out some matches here. Crystal Palace and Stockport, Newcastle. As I say, the Premier League teams have been excellent so far at home. Really obliged. Aberdeen in awful form at the moment. The Dons, Lord knows how they're still fourth. That just shows there's not much strength in depth in the SPL. Rangers are playing later on against St Johnstone. They got a 1-1 against Dundee. We did make a profit off that recovery, but they didn't get a second half goal. Let's have a look at, well, there's the goal, exactly. This is what I was exactly talking to you about. No need to panic. Give the, oh, look at that, an own goal as well. Shakuna. And look who's coming on. Song Kyun-min, Kulusevski. So this is an obvious tactic from Postecoglou. Give the Tamworth home faithful something to shout about and then just get the job done because there is no replay. So this is something we might have to think about in the future with this new FA Cup formula. It's done on the day. So the draw is going to be in play, as you saw with Hull and Doncaster That's why I didn't go for the whole win. We went for the whole +1. They don't need to win. They can take it all to extra time and to pens if need be. There's old Ironside, is that the detective? Burstow missing a penalty as well. Old Roy Slater, taxi driver from EastEnders, getting a penalty. Glenn Close, old Bunny Boiler, getting a penalty as well. So something to think about. The draw is in play in this newfound FA Cup. Good old Ange to entertain the Tamworth faithful, and now they just put the foot on the gas, get the win in extra time. Don't take it to penalties. Get a second goal in extra time, bringing on the big boys, and it's all done and dusted. So watch out for that kind of performance if we're not getting any goals from these kind of sides. They can do it in extra time. Probably when you see the big gun away from home, that's probably how they're going to work it. Now, I've missed my lay of the draw, but this is going to be interesting now. As you can see, Utrecht have scored the first goal. As I've said, they've been in decent nick, Utrecht, haven't they? Let's just remind you. Let's go back to the Utrecht match. Moving on down, Feyenoord and Utrecht, and Leipzig have scored first against Werder Bremen. So that would have been a good one to show you right at the off, laying over 0.5 first half goals at 1.3, delaying and hoping we get the draw odds a lot lower. As you can see, just takes that one goal. The draw was about at evens, so you'd have got a decent payout. So it's something to think about there. Waiting too long, I'm afraid, for Feyenoord Utrecht. But now we've got 1.4 favourite. As I've said, they're in excellent form, Feyenoord. But we are playing with the winter break. Utrecht may have been working on something during that winter break. Unbeaten and 8 away. But notably, 2-2 against Ajax. Scored 2 goals against PSV. We just got to hope they're not going to score 2 consecutive goals today. Just going to put the heater on. Feet are getting a bit cold. So let's have a look at the possibilities now. I'm just going to close some of these and just make sure you're all okay and I'm not talking to myself. Yeah, all okay. Good stuff. So it's an interesting one. In-play stats will tell you what kind of a mood Feyenoord are in at the moment. 3 shots on 8 off, 7 corners, 58 dangerous attacks to 11. But this reminds me of PSV and AZ Alkmaar yesterday. It's a tricky one because for me it's a derby style match. But if you wanted to play Feyenoord and Utrecht, insurance might be a little high. That's the over 1.5 goals. Yeah. So this is what I was saying. If you're expecting over 2.5 goals, why not back over 1.5 goals at evens or higher? All it takes is a single goal and boom, you're out. So that is a nice match to show you that technique. I haven't got a get out for this yet. That's the problem. Do we keep it running and just hope for that goal comes between now and the 70th minute, 46th and 70th minute. If you get that single goal, and again, it's neutral, doesn't matter who scores. That's the advantage of that. Now, I wanted to show you laying over 1.5 goals and then looking at possibility of Feyenoord +1. Very skinny still. So that's indicative of a very confident market. If you're so late in the match and you're only 1.7 for +1, it's not the best odds on the planet. So you'd have to go match odds, really. So let's treat this as a brand new play. Laying over 1.5 goals to cover your insurance. Going to cost you £14.80, which is quite hefty. So you have to fancy Feyenoord here. But we're going to try to make sure that we've got a bit on the draw. You can't really go +1 unless you wanted to. But it's going to be very skinny returns. So half stake. and another half stake as liability. Going to be backing Feyenoord at a tasty 4.3, but what you will need though is for them to respond quickly. It is the 66th minute. It's quite late in the match. So you'll need something from Feyenoord, and then Lay Utrecht. Didn't get to that Lay of Utrecht in time, because that would have covered the draw. But this 1-1. We'll soon see once the market reforms if this is 1-1. No, it's 0-2 to Utrecht. Wow. So that's what I was telling you, derby style match. Or it's a red card. It's one or the two. I haven't had the goal come in yet on Football 24. And just be careful as well, coming off the back of a winter break. It's 0-2 to Utrecht. And they did score those 2 goals I just showed you against PSV and Ajax. You're just hoping that it's not going to be 2 consecutive goals. But we've had Feyenoord scoring 2 goals against 5th and 6th. So this is an even better entry point. What you could do, you could use that other £19.60 and have a go there. But we can't do any insurance now. So this is the kind of an entry point I would pass on to telegrammers, because it's not going to cost you much to find out. So neutral benefits us far better here, doesn't it? Neutral benefited us far better. This is what I'm worried about when I say derby style matches. We can get unexpected results. We had AZ Alkmaar leading twice yesterday against PSV, but PSV came back and got a result. But now, if you want to have a go, you're going to get low liability. So a good one for telegrammers. Feyenoord 0, Utrecht 2. It's a good entry point this, even if Feyenoord can't pull it off. You'll be able to lay Utrecht at 1.31, and you could back Feyenoord at 17.5. Very good entry point. If we get a 1-2 for Feyenoord, that's your first possible cash out opportunity. So the delayers here would have benefited far more. So we're going to have to hope that we get a 1-2 for Feyenoord. No other way to cover this. Both teams to score no is going to be too low. And 1-2 as well is going to be a little too low, because we're so late in the match. So we're going to have to hope that this kind of a pattern continues, scoring 2 goals and conceding 2 goals against the top 2. But notably, both teams have struggled against the top 2. So Feyenoord do have the win from earlier on in the season. Their in-play stats were pretty good, but it just had the feel of a derby style match. You have to be very careful when I say derby style match. This is the kind of shock result you'll get. Coming off the back of a winter break as well is the major negative to that too. Let's have a look at some of the other matches. What is a quietish Sunday? Maybe not a good idea to do a live stream today, to be honest. Not enough keeping me hugely interested. But let's carry on. Ipswich against Bristol Rovers, odds on. Arsenal, Man U. I haven't got a clue. You can check the team news. So the lineups today. I wonder if we'll have a strong side out. Well, we've got the big guns out at the top front 3 for Manchester United. Højlund, Garnacho and Bruno Fernandes. Mazraoui, Ugarte, Mainu and Dalot. It's pretty much a first 11, isn't it? Martinez, Maguire and De Ligt. But the only change really is the goalkeeper, Bayındır. Don't know much about him. Altay Bayındır, been on the bench for the vast majority of the season. So that's the only change for Manchester United today. Arsenal, are they going to probably field a very strong first 11? Martinelli, Kai Havertz, Gabriel Jesus, Odegaard, Jorginho, Marino, Lewis Skelly, Gabriel Saliba and Timber. So some slight changes to the back four. On the bench, usual first teamer, Trossard, Rice, Partey, arguably, are sidelined. There, they would normally get in the first 11, of course. So it's arguably a stronger Manchester United side today, pretty much near the first 11 that played against Liverpool. But in-play stats are going to be the key foundation to any decision making today. Rangers about to kick off. Got that draw against Dundee, but St Johnstone are bottom of the league. It's an ideal opportunity for Rangers to get back to winning ways. Atletico Madrid as well have been in excellent nick, so we'd be expecting of them today as well. Groningen and Almere. Well, it's one-way traffic for Groningen, with the benefit of a quiet day. We can have a look, see if there's any potential for late goals here. Well, 4 wins only all season for Groningen. Pretty poor stuff, but they're unbeaten in 3 at home. 3 consecutive home clean sheets as well. Only 2 defeats recently have come against big guns, PSV and Twente. Almere ended a woeful losing run of 6 against Heerenveen pre-winter break. Only 2 wins all season for them. Oh dear, it's not very exciting stuff, is it? 5 consecutive home under 2.5 goal matches for Groningen. Oh boy, this doesn't make any great appeal, does it? 14th against 17th, relegation 6-pointer, but solid bit of form for Groningen, unbeaten at home against 9th and lower. 3 clean sheets in those 4 matches. They have managed to score, but not hugely against strugglers. Almere, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 matches they've failed to score away from home in. So they are going to struggle today. Crystal Palace have opened up against Stockport County. Absolutely no surprise there. So this makes little appeal, doesn't it? 2 sides at the wrong end of the table with very sporadic goal scoring, but Almere should be the side to target. And Leipzig already 2-1 up against Werder Bremen, so that's lay the draw, but have come in with the 1-0. But Werder Bremen equalising. Groningen, well, if there is a side going to score, it's going to be Groningen, you'd have to say, given Almere's total inability to score. So you'd be strongly favouring Groningen, hoping that they can get through. Want to lay the draw at some point, but it's one-way traffic for Groningen at the moment. If you fancied a 1-0 with a stretch to a 2-0, who knows, you might get something out of that. Certainly Almere consistently unable to score a goal away from home, that is. Final 72nd minute, we're waiting for them to ignite. 70 dangerous attacks to 11, but also the danger of playing what I call derby style matches, and also post the winter break, we can see the wheels fall off. Bayern Munich yesterday needed a Harry Kane penalty to get their win against Borussia Mönchengladbach. That's the kind of struggles these sides are having. Le Havre and Lens, we're looking for a Le Havre win here, hopefully. If we can see that from Le Havre, that would be excellent. And not from Le Havre, from Lens. We really should be seeing Le Havre conceding at least 3+ goals. That's on seasonal form, at least. And talking of 3 goals, well, Tottenham 0-3 up already. So an obvious tactic from Ange Postecoglou, old Angie Dickinson Postecoglou, So watch out for that. That was I think we did the right thing, didn't we, in laying the late draw, just in case we got something from Tottenham at the very end, because they did have the quality, but they brought the big guns on, and they've just shattered Tamworth's dreams, but kept the support happy for all of that 90 minutes. So very nice bit of work from Ange to keep the fans delighted. Just trying to get my phone working. It's just gone off the boil, so apologies. Just looking at the Groningen match. I can't find it anywhere. There it is at the top there. Okay. So Leipzig already 2-1 up, but a very difficult side to unpack. We're expecting that goal, aren't we, for Lens second half. It's really good stats. This is the kind of match you really like to look at. Positive in-play stats. Seasonal form is subtly in the favour of the away side. Ticking every box. Simple as that. Really good stuff. So we just hope that we can get that goal from Lens so we can lock in the profit. Feyenoord, you can see, has gone off the boil a bit in that derby-style match. 0-2 is the best entry point. You've seen that yesterday with Brest against Lyon. Just that single goal was all that you needed yesterday in that Brest-Lyon match, just to get yourself a 1-1 return. That was all that was needed. So similar story with Feyenoord, but a 0-2 lead 66 minutes in. That was quite late, wasn't it? So just waiting for Lens. Regina and Bari, well, not too keen on this one, but as ever, if you see matches where there hasn't been a draw and it's a draw at half time, it's one to try out our little system on. So let's give it a go. Regina, Reggiana and Bari. Let's give it a go. Just lost Football 24 again. It's not the most reliable app, so I'm going to have to move to the website, I think. It just goes quiet all of a sudden, and you want it to be dinging for you so you can listen. Well, we've got a possible play here with Bromley scoring first against Newcastle United, but highly unlikely there's going to be much value unless you fancy a half-time play. All about the Newcastle team news as well. This is relatively high for my little technique, Reggiana and Bari. I thought it was half-time, but I might be wrong. Let's just double check, because we normally do this at half-time. Yes, it is half-time, so that is quite high. As you've seen, other examples, it's been a lot lower than that. But we'll give it a go. We can experiment, and if we can find ourselves a good technique in the first half and the second half, we can use this as a really good strategy to create for yourself a pretty decent return, like you saw with Falkirk yesterday. So that's relatively high, but the draw odds should be quite low indeed. Very rare that you see these kind of short odds at half time. Normally about 3.5 and even higher with Feyenoord. So we'll give this a bit of a delay. Hopefully this will be a hard-fought 0-0 for a while, and then we can lay that draw at far lower odds. Hopefully we can get a tune out of this one. So it's a good experiment, but this is not the usual short odds you'll get at half time. 1.4, normally about 1.2. So this is already factoring in the suggestion that there might not be too many goals in this particular match. Come on, Lens. We could do with them just getting a goal. Panathinaikos have scored. No surprise there, really. They were the pre-match favourites. Bromley and Newcastle. That will be a match of interest. Have a look at the Newcastle team news. And again, you're getting no value out of this at all. So you're going to have to be creative if you want a play. Creativity comes in the half-time markets. Have a look at the pre-match odds for Newcastle. 1.1. So you've seen yesterday, we're normally getting about 3 or 4 goals, aren't we? No value to be had at all, really, for such an early start. Newly promoted Dender have scored first against Ghent. We saw that earlier with Beerschot scoring first, and they did concede the next goal, so that could be a possible angle in with a Ghent equaliser. Half-time markets. First half goals 2.5. Do you see any value with that? 2.2. So we just might have to sit on our hands here. If you wanted to lay Bromley at 3.1, that's certainly far better than you'll get in the match odds. From 15s down to 3.1 with only 12 minutes gone. Newcastle team news. What's it like? Is Mickey Quinn playing today, old Sumo? Or have they got a pretty strong side out? I would suspect with Premier League's coming on in a couple of days' time, surely they'll be fielding some of the not usual. Almiron's getting a game. We haven't seen him play for quite a while. This is a big change for Newcastle. So notable. Tonali out, Livramento out, Guimarães out, Gordon out, Byrne out. Pretty much the first 11 teams there. So this is Eddie Howe's notice that he's not really up for a cup run. Osula, don't know much about him. Almiron has been AWOL for quite a while. Miley Cyrus playing on the right wing. Joe Linton is normally a first teamer. And we're going to go back for Feyenoord. So let's just break from there. How has that impacted on the match? Now, if you got involved at 0-2, this is your cash out opportunity. And if you're getting a bit squeamish now, because this has not really gone the way you expected, and we've only got 8 minutes to go, you can get out now. That's the advantage of just that single goal. But if you did play at 1-2, you should be seeing a green screen. Sorry, I can't show you it because I got involved at 0-2 to 1-2. So this is what I would do here personally. I would lock in that loss rather than taking a £39 loss on Utrecht. I can always lay Utrecht a bit later on if it remains 1-2. But that's the goal we were after for Feyenoord, just to get us out of the bleep. You can see that. So I'm just going to pass that on to Telegrammers. Getting in at 0-2 is far better than getting in at 1-2. We have that Feyenoord goal to make it 1-2. So do check your positions. It's come in the 82nd minute. If you're seeing a green screen, I would recommend you take it, unless you're happy to take the loss in the hope of a better amount on the draw. 1-2 to Feyenoord. So this is when it goes wrong with your insurance plays, getting a 1-2 is an excellent out. You can see there, I've got that 39 quid saved now. Happy to take a £4 hit, don't mind at all. Quite happy to get involved a bit later on. Or if you fancied 3 or 4 quid on Feyenoord at 14s, if they can make it 2-2, those odds are going to drop markedly, aren't they? So let's return to the Newcastle match, which I'm afraid I can't find much value in. So it doesn't mean, you don't have to play if you can't find the value. The best value to be had is to sit on your hands and wait. So that's the Feyenoord match. We saw it's a much changed Newcastle side, which does suggest that it's not top of Eddie Howe's list of requirements. Or it could be, of course, Bromley are from such a lower tier, League Two, that Newcastle can afford to play with a weakened side. Don't forget the draw is in play, so it's not an imperative for Newcastle to win, and it looks as if they might have the equaliser already. So if you did play the half-time market, well done. Normal service has been resumed there. Newcastle 1, Brentford 1. Half-time was where the value was, wasn't it? Bromley at about 2s or 3s. Far, far better odds than you'll ever get in the match odds market, with large proportion of the first half to go. So that was a little bit of value there for that lay of Bromley if you took it on. If you went first half goals 2.5, that's looking a bit more value now, isn't it? At 2.2 or thereabouts. That, in retrospect, of course, is looking like wonderful value because it's a simple back to lay play. So don't forget in the future, the best way to create value in a match which has no value in the match odds market is to think half-time markets. They're a nice niche for you to play in. Either lay the opponent 1-0 up at relatively short odds to their match odds and to their pre-match 15s. Wow. Or look for a neutral play, first half goals 2.5. All we need is that single goal scored early enough, and you can get a nice back to lay zooming all the way down there. So if you did play, well done. Rangers have the lead against St Johnstone. Absolutely no surprise there whatsoever. Ipswich Town have scored first against Bristol Rovers as well. No sign from Groningen whether they will break through against an opponent who just can't score. We're getting to that stage of the match. If you wanted to lay the late draw, by all means do. Do watch out for a potential comeback from Feyenoord. So let's keep an eye on the draw odds because you might be able to get a little bit of value and clean up some of those losses that I necessarily took. So 1.4 is relatively high odds to lay the draw. Lay Utrecht, sorry. Delay, try to get lower odds. Or no harm just nicking a bit of Feyenoord at 21s or higher, just in case they can get a goal. But it's looking like they're going to be targeting with 88 minutes the draw rather than the win. It all depends on the amount of extra time. But you can see there, just increase that profit on Feyenoord. Hopefully that will work for us if they get an equaliser and then we get some extra time. But I would be laying Utrecht at some point, I think, with Feyenoord getting a goal back. This is exactly the same as what happened with PSV yesterday. Got Luke de Jong scoring 2 goals and coming from behind on 2 occasions. So we've got a hope we could lay that draw Utrecht as late as possible. The clock is Utrecht's friend at the moment. Inter Milan have been kept to their work by Venezia. Don't forget, Venezia got a 2-2 against the old lady recently. So this could be one of interest. 0-1 is a very troubling scoreline, particularly when you're away to a newly promoted side whose home support is going to be pretty mental as well. So watch out for that. Possibilities there. So we're just interested really in seeing whether Groningen can convert those 14 corners into a goal, because they would be the side to score if there is going to be a goal. Almere City away from home are just awful. Looking also at those 10 corners for Feyenoord to see whether they can convert those and their 84 dangerous attacks into a 2-2. By delaying, we're going to get shorter odds about Utrecht. And with the side with momentum now, you've seen the momentum shift all of a sudden. An upwards trajectory coming to the end of the match. That's what you like to see for a side a goal down. But the clock is not their friend. That is the problem. Le Havre keeping Lens very quiet as well. But again, look at those 62 dangerous attacks for Lens, 84 dangerous attacks for Feyenoord, 68 dangerous attacks for Groningen. Wow. There's some good defensive work from their opponents. If you're looking at that glass half full. 2-0 already for Rangers. Very easy afternoon against bottom of the league, St Johnstone, so I don't think we need to be fixating on this match anymore. Hope you're all okay. I seem to have lost. Here's Mark, delayed on Feyenoord, got in at 0-2. Well done, Mark. A nice bit of delaying there. 0-2 is an excellent entry point, Mark, as you saw yesterday with Brest, Lyon. Just that single goal, Mark. That's all we need. Correctly timed single goal to make it from 2-0 to 2-1. And you can cash in, as you say there, to make a nice bit of green. And don't forget, your profit is always relative to the amount of money you risk. So the more money you risk, the more you'll lose, but the more you'll win. So don't forget that. That's why I give you the profits in ratios. A 1-to-1 risk reward ratio is pretty much an evens return. So it's all relative to the amount that you've risked. Newcastle are looking like they're going to pile in this one. Absolutely no bother for them at all. Atletico Madrid already leading against Osasuna, and for some inexplicable reason, Football 24 has decided not to sound the goals like that. So let's see if they can do that again, because I'd rather hear an auditory alert when a goal's come in rather than be looking at the screen constantly. It's separate from my computer. Having Football 24 on your mobile phone to your left, you should get an auditory alert, and you should get an auditory alert here, particularly with odds on favourites. That's one way to create a trading angle. You see all the odds on favourite goals coming in at the bottom here. We should be getting that sound as well. So I'm not sure what's going on. I haven't muted the tab. It's important that we know goals coming in odds on favourite matches. Therefore, we can react, can't we? This is an example. I think Beerschot scored first. I'm not sure. They did. Newly promoted Beerschot. Henderson missing a penalty. Oh dear. Antwerp equalising. So that's the kind of thing you look at. The underdog scoring first. Then you can investigate. You can go to Soccer Stats. How have this lot got on recently? How about this lot? They come from behind often enough. Then you can do your investigation. And off we go. You'll have been alerted to that Bromley opening goal. Then you can do your investigation. What are the best value markets we can look at? Obviously, such an early goal, half-time market. Investigate, check the team news out. It's not the first 11, but obviously the gap in quality from League 2 to the Premier League is quite clear. Trippier playing as well. So they've got a few of the big guns out. But a few, Almiron, for example, very rarely gets a first team appearance on the bench. So he doesn't really get that many matches at the moment, Almiron, probably because they've got that guy, I've forgotten his name, from Everton. Groningen. Time for 106, 109, or is it a little bit too late? That's my butchering of the word Groningen. Well, it's a little too late now, 104, but it's taking a while, isn't it, to move down to 101. Not going to cost you anything to find out. 12-second delay as well, so we're probably going to get even shorter odds. Atletico Madrid goal looks to have been disallowed against Osasuna after the 10th minute. It's a good sign, though, when you get a disallowed goal. We might see something there. That's the end of the match. Cost me very little to find out whether Groningen had it in them. But I wouldn't normally be doing that high a stake. What I would be doing is 109, 106. That's the ones I like to do in matches like this. Not household name teams, that kind of thing. Feyenoord, a bit more of a household name, aren't they? How are the draw odds now? 1.2. So I'll be getting involved, I think. We can do the 109, 106 and leave it alone. If we can capture a late equaliser for Feyenoord, 1.09 to win 23 quid, or you could divide that by 2. That would be about 12 quid if you want to keep your liability even lower. And 1.06 to win 32, or divide that by 2, make that 16. And you'd only have a £2 liability, but still 30 or 40 quid return if we can get a late goal. 12-second delay as well, a little off-putting. I like this kind of scenario though. You've come from behind to make it 1-2. You've got home advantage. You've only been beaten by two of the big guns all season. You've beaten this lot 2-0 already this season. So possibility of a late goal is there for Feyenoord. All the while you delay, Utrecht's odds are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. But this is the problem playing what I call derby style matches, or clashes of top 5 teams as well. Utrecht are there for a good reason, coming into this match in pretty decent form. So make sure your liability is as low as possible, like Mark did, getting in at 0-2 and then locking in profit at the 1-2. Not wrong at all. That's a good technique to use if you're just looking for that odds movement from a 0-2 to a 1-2. And it can be quite a decent odds movement depending on when that 1-2 arrives. Ours came in the 82nd minute, but we still salvaged £39, or the majority of that £39 saved. So delighted with that 1-2. Otherwise you're sitting on a full bank loss. That's the negative about this insurance. It's a 0-2. Can only be covered by doing both teams to score no very early on, or of course by backing 0-2 in the correct score market. Can't be covered any other way. And then you'll have to cover 1-2 as well if you're going to be playing a 0-2 comeback. Now we're getting in short, as you can see, 1.09, 1.06. Maximum liability about £3.90. Maximum return about 52 quid. That is a good risk reward ratio. We've got the right team on our side. They are giving a good account late on, as you can see with the graph, but shots on target, I haven't seen one for 10 minutes. A couple of 90th minute shots off target, no corners recently, but 99 dangerous attacks. It's concerted pressure, but Feyenoord obviously have the clock in their favour. Doing an excellent job there, Utrecht. Low risk, got out of jail here. Really, you do have to sometimes take a hit, and as ever, the watchword is low risk, high return. That's what we're aiming for. Venezia are keeping Inter Milan very quiet, and that's important because they got a very late goal against Juventus to make that 2-2 away at the Old Lady as well. They've scored 2 goals in 3 of the last 5 matches, Venezia. Only went down 1-0 to Napoli at Napoli. So they are putting in a really good fist of it, Venezia. Unbeaten in 3 at home, could be even more matches at home, but Inter Milan can turn it on when they fancy it. They've, a bit like Atalanta yesterday, they're coming off the back of a worrying trip to Saudi Arabia. Not so worrying for Lens. My old pals have made it 1-2. So this is your primary cash out opportunity now at 1-2. Just wait for this to reform. It's not showing 1-2 odds. It must be a VAR goal or something. So just waiting. Now it's been disallowed. What a pity. That was a 71st minute. That would have been rather nice to have locked that profit in. We're with the right team, I think, aren't we? This is the importance of in-play stats. Just gives you some confidence that you're with the right team. 20 shots, 73 dangerous attacks. And this is the away side in brown. This is their momentum. You can tell by the graph, it's pretty solid, isn't it? Overwhelming Le Havre, who haven't been able to build up any momentum whatsoever. Above 12 on the attacking pressure index. So it's a real solid away display. And that's the usefulness of this graph, isn't it? Well, Feyenoord couldn't cross the line, but we got out of jail. So I'm delighted with that. Just for that 1-2, just for that single goal. And note the timing, 82nd minute. So delighted with that. You could have laid the draw second half as well. And I was trying to show you that, but the goal came 60th minute. So I could have got 15 minutes out of that, but the draw odds were relatively high at half time already. Reggiana and Bari remains 0-0. I've forgotten all about that. Let's see how low the draw odds are now and how much we've made on the 0.5 goal. We've made £4.44, so we're £4.44 ahead of this. So if you wanted to lay the draw now, and if you can get a goal, like our old pals Falkirk yesterday, it's a very good return if we can manage to salvage a single goal out of this match. But quite clearly, you've seen the markets shouting out, we're not expecting goals. If this is so high at half time, this is relatively high, 1.4 at half time, very high odds. So you can read the market in that way to give you an idea whether there'll be goals or not. So we're delaying all the while, and if the goal comes in and I haven't laid the draw, well, I will lose that. But we want to get this gap between this and when we start to lay the draw as wide as possible. We want as much profit as we can in the over 0.5 goal market. That way we can create for ourselves a risk-free punt and a better return. That's getting up to 45 quid. We got it up to about 47 with our old pals Falkirk yesterday, didn't we? And we didn't see a goal in that match, but we got out. It starts going a bit out of sync later on down the line. So you've got to be a bit wary with that. Normally, you want this profit to equal the loss that you see here for as long as possible, because that will keep you in and hopefully nab that goal. That's what we're after. So this is a good example. Well, red card. There we go. That's probably killed this one off, hasn't it? Because Bari was showing absolutely nothing. No shots on target. Still, 65 attacking pressure index for Reggiana, down to 10. You can't legislate for red cards, I'm afraid. Maybe that's kept the draw odds artificially higher. We will see. But the longer we wait at 0-0, we could still lay that draw late on and have a punt at a bigger profit. So that's what I'm trying to get across to you here. The longer we wait, the bigger the return. As long as we can manage ourselves a get out for a £2 or £3 loss, or ideally a break even, while having a chance at 46 quid or higher. So it's a really nice little technique. I quite like it, but I'm sure around the season you're going to be losing some of this liability with early goals. But I like it, creating a nice bit of value. Particularly with a red card now, we might get a response from Bari. Reggiana and Bari, I'm not seeing it on Football 24. No, I must have missed out. Just want to see how much time is remaining. Reggiana and Bari, 64th minute. So still plenty of time with a red card. Just want to see whether Bari will respond to that. Every moment that it remains 0-1 is a moment of promise for Venezia, remembering what they did against Juventus, away at Juventus. Don't forget, they kept Napoli very, very quiet to a 1-0 Napoli win as well. So it could be an interesting end to the match. Venezia and Inter Milan. Inter Milan might be a little bit of value to lay late on. So we'll see about that. Le Havre and Lens, we're just waiting for that goal for Lens. If they can oblige, we've already had it in the back of the net. without crossing the line just yet. But I remain hopeful. And this is the kind of match where you engineer that lost on the draw. And is that the goal now? Is that the 1-2 for Lens? I think it could be. If it's confirmed, and it's the computer's gone all silent, so I hope you're still hearing me. If it's confirmed, we are up and running. So fingers crossed. That goal will stick. Don't forget, we're expecting Le Havre to be conceding 2 or 3 goals today, aren't we? So there's no, it looks as if that goal has been struck off again. I'm not too sure. We'll have to wait and see. So just waiting. Sometimes In-Play Guru might not get it right. So I'm just waiting for confirmation of that. So again, just trouble with the telephone. There we go. That's confirmation. So, and Elvis. Blue suede shoes. They've got the lead against Guimarães. So just watch out there. Elvis has not left the building just yet. Guimarães are known for goals, but are they up for the cup? They have been a very reliable side for me this season. Got us a nice 70 quid the other week, didn't they? So let's just check out the Lens match. Utter dominance. This is your perfect match. There we go. You're getting a near 100% return. You've got to get the bleep out of Dodge, because they are away from home. Don't forget. Okay. Could get that errant penalty for Le Havre, but they don't tend to score at home. But do please cash out. Once you've locked it in, it doesn't matter what happens now. You could cheer on Le Havre. So I'm just going to pass this on to Telegrammers. So if we can just get 1 or 2 of these a day, wouldn't it be wonderful, eh? 56 quid a day. Lens have finally crossed the line to make it 1-2. They've had a couple of near misses, a couple of goals disallowed. But this is your cash out opportunity, so please take it. There's still enough match left for Le Havre to possibly nick an equaliser, but on seasonal form, this is going exactly the way we expect it. Should really get 3 or 4 goals out of Lens today, but do cash out now. You're getting a near 100% return if you went match odds. So good stuff. Time for you to get out. Excellent stuff. Well done to Lens. It doesn't matter which league it's in, does it? Once you've got soccer stats, you can get a really good indicator. The market's already telling us they really fancy Lens. We head on over here and we ask ourselves, do we agree with the market? If we agree with the market and Le Havre score first, really does increase your confidence. Just seeing if I can find the match. There we go. It's all about the challenge table. Scoring first. Well, where's that second goal? Where's that second goal against the top 8? It's non-existent, is it? That's your first positive towards Lens. Second, Lens, well, Le Havre against the top 7, tending to concede at least 3 goals. That's your second positive for Lens. Your third, Lens's solid win record against 14th and lower. Lens's 2-goal habit here, and here against 9th and lower. So all ticking the boxes. Marry that in with an excellent in-play stats performance, and you've got for yourself a really good banker bet. The absolute ideal template, just as Kai Nishikori was for the tennis. This is for the football. Brilliant. Doing exactly what you want. And that's the reason why we leave that small amount on the draw. So you're tempted to stay in for the bigger profit on Lens. Worked like a treat, didn't it? If you're happy to take the hit on the draw, then you can make 3 times as much if we get that win that we're expecting. A really solid performance. You can see that Venezia just starting to build up some momentum coming into the back half of this match. Really kept Inter Milan honest. This is another poor performance from a Saudi Arabian Super Cup team. Atalanta yesterday were very poor. Couldn't find the net. This is the price they pay for paying homage to the Saudi Arabian billions. Can struggle in the next match. So a couple of trips to Saudi Arabia there on the 2nd and the 6th. Might take it out of them, I'm not sure. There's a 6-day gap, so really shouldn't. But it's an unnecessary extra fixture. But the positive about that is they've got a couple of games in hand at the top. Now, still, they might be gettable late on Inter if Venezia can keep this lot 2-1 for as long as possible. It's, of course, a very speculative play. It's costing you tuppence to find out, though. We could even lay a little bit later on as it remains 0-1. Because if Inter Milan make it 0-2, of course, there's no comeback from that. But while it remains 0-1, we get that to the 88th minute. When did they score that goal? Against Juve. You'll check the timing of that, and it could give us a good indicator of possibility. 95th minute equaliser for Vlahovic. So that could be a very low risk lay late on. Don't forget they were keeping Napoli out till the 79th minute as well. And a missed Romelu Lukaku penalty. Empoli, any late goals there? No, all first half there. So it would be a very speculative lay of Inter Milan, but if you look at the standings, I don't know if this is the live standings, you can see they've gone into 2nd place with that win today. So vital that they take advantage of this game in hand, because if they do it again, they're going to be going top of the league with that other game in hand. But it's an intriguing performance from Venezia, keeping them very, very quiet indeed. We can take Lens out of the equation now. So a nice run of matches. Aston Villa, Bournemouth, Lens. Real banker material. And you're getting a decent profit out of each of those 3. That's the absolute ideal opportunities you'll be looking for. Those kind of plays. I think we can take Panathinaikos off the watch list. Leipzig look like they've turned up today, but they're a very hard team to read. Hard teams to read are hard teams to trust and trade. Newcastle, well, they look very comfortable indeed, so there's no worries with them. Aberdeen, well, I wouldn't trust them with stolen money. They need Fergie back. Just a woeful run. So I don't think I'll be playing that at all. 3-0 already for Ipswich. Arsenal and Man U, it's much of a muchness, really. Atletico Madrid have had a goal disallowed already. We can look at their goal scoring record, home and away. Well, no, just at home, because they're playing at home today against Osasuna. Been in great form of late, the old lady, not the old lady, but Atleti. Let's have a look. Look at that. 1, 2, 4 clean sheet wins there. Unbeaten at home this season. Only Real Betis have beaten them, and that was a 1-0. Osasuna, draw specialist, but I think you're going to be looking at Osasuna's performances against top 5 rather than the mid-table sides they're drawing with. No defeat in 9 at home, scored in the last 7 at home, 5 consecutive home wins for Atletico Madrid. Second against 11th. A bit wobblier away from home, Athletic, but at home, particularly against 7th and lower, they've only failed to score 2+ goals on 2 occasions. Really solid. Haven't played Osasuna yet this season, but as I say, away from home, they look to be struggling a little bit for those goals. Maybe that's the setup of the home side. Osasuna themselves, 4 goals conceded here, 4 conceded here against the top 7 away from home, 3 conceded here. So they are vulnerable. Atletico Madrid should really be eyeing the win today. Did have a goal disallowed. Well, when do they do most of their scoring? Well, that could give you an indicator there, couldn't it? But let's look at that in more home depth. And wow. So you've already got an indication if somehow Osasuna are keeping a clean sheet. Coming up to the 75th minute, you've got a real opportunity to trust Atletico Madrid to get that late goal. It's there in black and white for you. 10 goals scored in the last 15 minutes of home matches. So watch out for that. 79% of their goals have been scored in the second half, Atletico Madrid. So you've got a ready angle if it's 0-0 at half time. So no panic first half. Quite clearly, the team talk works for the second half for Atleti. They're likely to put the foot on the gas and get the win that they need. I'll probably call it a day at 4 o'clock because, as you can tell, it's a quieter afternoon than is usual, isn't it? But it's nice to pop on for a couple of hours. And we've got that Lens one and saved a bit of cash on Feyenoord as well. Cadiz Levante, 18th against 7th. Elche Zaragoza, just going to pick up some matches which catch the eye. Rangers already 3-0 up. NAC Breda, Heerenveen got a recent win against PSV Eindhoven of all sides. Vitesse Arnhem, what a fall from grace. Normally top 6 in the Eredivisie. So they're having an awful time of it, like Sampdoria, just suddenly fallen off the map. It's sad to see, really, such an established side falling down the leagues. So 4 o'clock, I'll call it a day. That will catch the end of the Inter Milan match. Well, we're getting there now. And they're within striking distance. Inter, if Venezia can do it. Cost you nothing to find out. Highly unlikely to occur. But you can see, bang, you can just have a go there. We're just a little bit shorter. And going again at 103. You might get a late penalty like they did against Juventus. If you're keeping these sides to only 1-0, you are in with a really good shout at an equaliser. So good performance against both Inter Milan and Napoli without winning. Reggiano and Bari. I've forgotten all about this one. Let's have a look. And this is what you want to do, what you want to see when you've laid over 0.5 goals. Now we're on £11.15. We can have a really good punt for a big £100 return if we can get that goal. Wow. Good scenario to be in. So let's just, I'll keep an eye on this match for you and then I'll probably say good night. What have we got coming up later on? Not much of any great appeal, to be honest with you. Southampton against the Swans. Surely Saints get out of the FA Cup, try to stay up. Stuttgart are away at Augsburg. Roma and Bologna, 2.7 the favourite. Too tough to call. PAOK odds on favourite at home. AEK Athens odds on at home. Paris Saint-Germain and Napoli. So it's not a huge contrast to yesterday, really, isn't it? It's not the most appealing coupon on the planet. That's why I'm going to call it a day a little bit early. But I'll still be up and around, see if I can eke out a bit more profit this afternoon and evening. It's been such a beautiful day in Guernsey. Managed to get out this morning. So, got to make sure that this is always higher than this. by the time this loss reaches this, I get out. Having given myself a chance at 95 quid, by the way. So we know £11 bare minimum is what we have to wait for here. We've also got a red card in play if Bari managed to make the extra man work. So this could be a rather nice end to the session if we can get a goal. It doesn't matter who scores, of course, does it? Doesn't matter who scores because you're playing neutrally. So let's just see. And this is the kind of technique I really like, giving yourself a chance of a big profit for what I hope will be effectively a break even, because every time it's 0-0, we're going to make even more money here. And as you can see, it's catching up ever so slowly. But this is a slightly illiquid market, but we've got plenty of leeway from that £4.37 up to about 12 quid. Plenty of leeway. Once this gets to double figures, I'll check that out again, and we'll see how we get on. Can we get that goal that we're after? How long will it last until we get out with a break even? So it's going to be fascinating to find out. What you could do as well is to just keep in and give yourself a half liability loss of £20 in the hope of winning 95. So that's always an option as well. It's up to you completely. I like to do a break even. You can see we're up to £7.51 already. So it does the later on in the match, the quicker the loss increases, as you can see there. So it's already up to 7 quid. This is up to 13. So still, we are in the lead with the 0.5s. Any sign of anything of interest here? Absolutely no response from Bari to the red card, is there? So I don't think we're going to be seeing a goal here at all. A second shot from Venezia. This is what I was talking about. 92nd minute shot on target. Trying to go for the late one. Keeping them at 0-1. Good performance. £6.70 now. And this still remains at £12.74. So we've got plenty of time. Hopefully we'll see a goal before they equalise, or the profit and loss equalise, should I say. So it's fascinating to see. We're up to £7.51 loss, negated by a £13 profit. We're up to double figures. So you can see how quickly it occurs. We've given them a shot, but it doesn't look like we're going to be seeing a goal, which is a real pity. So you do always have that opportunity of taking a £20 hit in the hope of getting a late goal. So that's something. And I could also experiment, of course, with making that £40 hit. £40, that would be 16 though. So you'd have a bit of a way to go. So that's quite a big hit if we get a very, very early goal. So that's why I've halved this. You could always have this as a full liability. So we're up to 10 quid there. Now we've got to think about cashing out now. See how quickly it arrives. So I've given them a shot and they've just not obliged. I've had a go at 95 quid, but no one's playing ball. So I've got a £12.59 loss there, £13 gain there. So it's pretty much break even. You could always lay the draw late on again. You could do 109, 106. So there's always options, but just not seeing the goal in a good enough time period. But we had a really good shot at it, didn't we? But that red card's probably scuppered the plans. So excellent to see that one. Crystal Palace doing okay. I'm going to say goodbye at 4 o'clock. As you can imagine, it's not the strongest coupon today. Not as strong as yesterday. Cadiz Levante and Elche against Zaragoza. looking good. Probably one for the second half. Again, we could do that, lay the draw sequence again. It's only come in once, and that was a £57 profit, so it's worth sticking with, I think. We got the goal at the right time in that particular match. So just show you what we've got coming up a bit later. Vitesse Arnhem were favourites, but can they be trusted? They're on a downward trajectory at the moment. Odds-on matches coming up later on. Toulouse against Strasbourg, Paris Saint-Germain a bit later on. Stuttgart odds-on away at Augsburg. Napoli against Verona. Verona kept to a 0-0 by Udinese recently. Atletico Madrid, second half goal merchants, aren't they? That could be one for a back over 1.5 goals. You saw that with the Feyenoord match. Back over 1.5 goals at evens or higher. Get out with an 18 quid profit if you get a single goal. Club Brugge, slight or were, well, heading towards odds on against Anderlecht. Southampton odds on against the Swans. Newcastle, well, it's 1-1 at half time. Surely they can get that second goal against League Two, Bromley. Or it's another one of those matches where they'll be targeting extra time, just as Tottenham did. Target extra time. That's why Postecoglou didn't make these big changes, Kulusevski and Son Heung-min. And off we go. Boom, boom, boom. And it's Tottenham through to the next round. But giving the Tamworth home support plenty to shout about. So a nice job there. We've got the two big guns, POK and AEK Athens at home. And we've got All Hail to the Ale, Hapoel Beersheva at 6:30. So there's still plenty of footy today. And look at this, the awful continuation of Vitesse Arnhem's decline continues. 0-2 down, glass half full. Be looking to take it on, particularly as Stephen Francis would point out, penalty opening goal for VVV Venlo. But if you look at the standings, can you trust Vitesse Arnhem? It's a bottom three clash they're on. Something must have happened. 27 points. That's why the decline. Okay, that makes sense now, doesn't it? A side who used to be the top 6 in the Eredivisie have had 27 points taken away from them. So there might be an angle in. Can we look at the form before I depart? As you know very well, 0-2 is a good entry point, isn't it? Because you keep your liability low. And if you can get that 1-2, that could be your first get out. Vitesse Arnhem and VVV. So let's have a look. So bottom of the league is not down to woeful form. It's down to a 27-point deduction. So thanks, Soccer Stats, for that. 2 consecutive home wins against Helmond Sport and Jong Utrecht. A really poor September to November. We've had the winter break, don't forget. You've seen that affect Feyenoord today. Seasonal form, not much to shout home about, is it? They've scored and conceded against the bottom 5 at home. Scored 2 goals on 2 occasions. VVV, well, they've scored 2+ goals on 2 occasions themselves away from home. One of them turning out to be a win. Not sure why Vitesse Arnhem are favourite today. Nothing in the form lines to really suggest that. Coming off the back of a winter break as well, not the best time to be evaluating teams either. Do their best scoring second half. 75% of goals scored at home have come second half. A bit like Atletico Madrid, you'll recall. And this might be one to wait for the second half if you are going to have a play in the Vitesse Arnhem match. 0-2 is always a good entry point, isn't it? So we'll have a quick look. Vitesse Arnhem and VVV Venlo. I'll just make sure I star these because I can show you in tomorrow's video the technique. it is very appealing, isn't it? It gives us a shot at 95 quid, but we've got a small window of opportunity. But the longer we delay, we've got that pressure for the team to score, like we have at the end of the season. So that's pretty good. 1.41 lay and a 9 back. But I would be waiting personally, and it's only 17 minutes gone. So it is tempting to get involved now, because if they get a goal before half time, that's your first cash out. But they are a 75% scoring team second half. Vitesse Arnhem. So that's something to look at. I'm going to say goodbye to you now. I'm sorry it's going to curtail it a little bit, but as you can see, there's not much. Delay Feyenoord. Okay, thank you very much, Mark. And game's back underway. Goal given. Thank you very much. So as you can understand, it's not the most interesting coupon at the moment, but I will be doing, I think, a live stream for the return of the Premier League on Tuesday and Wednesday. Although I might be out on Tuesday, meeting a friend at 5 o'clock. So hopefully I'll be back at 7:30 for that. But as you can see, it's a brilliant coupon relative to a normal Tuesday evening. Bundesliga returns, Premier League returns, Serie A as well. And of course, the Bangladeshi Federation Cup, got the Bangladeshi police away at the Darky Wanderers. Hello, hello, hello. What's all this then? 8:30 in the morning for that one. So some good football, and Championship League One postponed. So it looks a very interesting Tuesday. FA Cup continues with some lower tier sides. EFL Trophy playoffs. Peterborough stand out there. And Wednesday, we've got the Premier League again. Maybe German Bundesliga again. Yeah, so another good coupon on Wednesday. So one of these two nights, we'll do an impromptu live stream just to capture the matches. They've all got a very uniform kickoff, which I like. And we can just have a quick look at these. We might not get any trades out of them. So I do like the more matches, the better that we can check. Coupe de France. Not sure these sides will be up for it. Brest and Nantes meet again after a recent, I think it was 2-0 head-to-head for Nantes. Oh, it's Angers I'm getting mixed up with. Yeah, no, 4-1 to Brest last time these two met. So Tuesday and Wednesday might be able to get a live stream in on one of those 2 days for you. So looking forward to that. Thanks very much for coming along. Have a great week, says Bosun, and have a great week to you all as well. I will see members on Telegram just for the next few hours and a few more cup matches. Let's see whether Atletico Madrid can continue their second half goal scoring record. Don't forget, the Australian Open continues. If you're interested, keep an eye out on that Kai Nishikori type match. This is what you want to be focusing on. 2 sets down, particularly one of them being a tiebreaker. 1.2 favourite. Look at the comeback. Really good odd swing if you're a trader. Have a great day. I'll see members on Telegram if I can spot any more plays for you today.